Y'all, what it is. So this is what representation makes like.
Yes.
It is an honor to be here today to celebrate a woman who exemplifies everything that we want in the world. Thank you for joining us today for this momentous occasion. My name is Dua Buriak. I'm the Deputy Executive Director at the Washington State Bar. And I'm delighted to be your ceremony host and MC. We have a fantastic program for you, compact. We're going to make sure we keep everything on time today. The goal of today is to honor and recognize the great diversity of the communities that Judge Jarmon is a part of and represents. This is one of the reasons why her election to the King County District Court is so meaningful. I'm thrilled to be here, and I know you are as well. Just a couple housekeeping matters. There's a reception that follows immediately. We hope you will stay throughout the program. For those of you standing in the back, there's an additional courtroom. You'd rather have a seat, you don't get a front view, however you get to see everything on screen if you wish. And again, right after this, it's that cultural element. You come to celebrate, and you do that with good food and good tea. If you need water, some snacks, or some Capri Sun, please go ahead and grab some or grab it after the ceremony. And with that, we will begin with an honoring of the land and people done by Christina Nina Peterson. Ms. Peterson is a Native American Reentry Services Foundational Support Specialist. That's a word. It's a lot of words. Welcome, Ms. Peterson.
Thank you.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. Just a second. It's a special day, special moment for a lot of us, especially as the tides change. I am honored to be here today. I'm honored to be able to have send me this role right now. I would like to acknowledge the Muckleshoot tribe. The Muckleshoot tribe, they are the traditional stewards of these lands and the federally recognized treaty tribes of King County. I offer my request to the ancestors and elders of the Muckleshoot tribe and extend the respect to the elders that are no longer here, as well as the elders that are present here today. The Muckleshoot tribe, they approved of this special ceremony and the acknowledgement to recognize Miss Andrea Jarmon as we honor her today, as she's going to be presiding over these ancestral lands. The Muckleshoot tribe approves of this honoring, and I honor you, the community, people, these lands, this courtroom, with a song. I'll sing the song first, and I'll tell you in a short translation just what it is. He
Thank you so much. Thank you very much, Ms. Peterson. We continue to grow our understanding of the importance of non-conformative land developments. Thank you for the richness and education to open this ceremony. Our next presenter is a gentleman who needs no introduction, the Honorable Judge Matthew York, presiding judge for King County District Court. He was appointed in April of 2017 and subsequently elected November 2018. Thank you, Judge York, for sharing remarks on behalf of King County District.
I don't know about no introduction. But I am Matthew York. I'm the Chief Presiding Judge for King County District Court, and I'm so honored to be able to speak with you today on this occasion. A year ago today, I didn't know Andrea Jarmon. But no, that's no surprise to any of you. When you're an elected official and it comes to filing time, you pay attention to who's filing for what job. And I noticed her name come up. And I was like, I better figure out who she is. And it turns out that a lot of people I knew and respected did know who she was. And I reached out to them and said, can you tell me what's going on here? And they assured me that she was intelligent, compassionate, diligent, hardworking, and ready for this job. So I cajoled her number out of some of them, and I texted her. And I started having a text communication with her that immediately reinforced that in my mind, that we were in good hands, we were in good shape. And then I had a telephone call with her. And we had a wonderful telephone call. It must have been on for 25, 30 minutes. But we both had children and we had to run. And after that telephone call, I felt even better. But then she did nothing but support that demonstrated diligence to the job and performing well when she got in there, because she jumped right in even before she was sworn in. She attended our pro tem class and began serving as a pro tem judge prior to actually stepping onto the bench after her elected period. So she came in and she did that of her own time and own diligence to make sure that she was ready day one when she walked in the door, and she did everything she could to do that. And by the time I got to know her, and by the time I got to the pleasure of welcoming her to district court, I had the exact same impression as all those people that I was on the phone with back in May of last year. So I thank her for coming and joining us on this bench. Her excellence is only going to add to us. I'm sure all of you, well, many of you have heard the district court, people's court speech. But here's what I'll say about that, is that it's people like Andrea Jarmon that we need in district court. In district court is the place where most people are going to have their first interaction or only interaction with the court system. It's where representation arguably matters more than almost anywhere else. It's where people who are compassionate, intelligent, and diligent, those traits that I spoke of before, matter even more. So I thank Andrea Jarmon for filing and joining us, and I welcome her to district court this time.
Thank you, Judge. At this time, I'd like to take a moment and thank all of our judicial officers who joined us this evening. We have folks in person and online as well. Honorable judges, will you, in a moment, I'm going to ask you to stand, introduce yourself, and the role you currently sit, basically which court we currently serve in. For folks in the audience, if you'll do me a favor and hold applause till the end, like I'm on Superior Court.
Dave Keenan, King County Superior Court.
Nicole Gaines Phillips, King County Superior Court.
Lori K. Smith, and I'm the acting chief judge of Division I Court of Appeals.
Matthew York, King County District Court.
I'm Colchinder Dillon, and I'm a judge in the King County District Court. Rebecca Robertson, King County District Court. April Rothrock, King County Superior Court. Laurel Gibson, King County District Court.
Nat Green, King County District Court.
Monica Carey, King County Superior Court Commissioner.
Karama Hawkins Calloway, King County District Court.
Very good afternoon. Elizabeth Stephenson, King County District Court.
Judith Hightower, retired, Seattle Municipal Court.
Corrine Wilson, King County Superior Court.
Roy McCullough, King County Superior Courts.
Moy Masaniai Jr., King County District.
Joe Campagna, King County Superior Court.
Lisa Mansfield, Lakewood Municipal Court.
Thank you so much. And then for our judges online, my vision is terrible. Judge,
Here we stand a vision of justice. First in our community, in our families, in our court. First in this land, or having come from a distant port. Here we stand a symbol of justice. Of the people, for the people, ready to serve. Our mere presence, making the unseen heard. Here we stand the future of justice, conveying belief that you'll have the process that's due, providing confidence that this system is also for you.
and if I may welcome Rose Ephart, an attorney who practices criminal, family, and dependency law. She and Judge Jarmon became friends after first being opposing counsel on a family case, and now everyone knows there's a genuine bond as friends and family.
Okay, so told me I get 5 minutes. Got my timer going. I'm very excited to get to speak about my little sister today. She rolls her eyes because she tries to say she's the big sister, but she's my little sister. Chronologically is irrelevant. I do remember the first time I met her. She was representing a crazy client. To be fair, so was I. We made it through trial against each other. Neither one of us, though we fought each other valiantly and got the best results we could get for our clients, we didn't take it personally and became friends afterwards. I can fully admit I'm kind of jealous of King County District Court today. And I'm really wishing she was on my bench, though she would never hear my cases. The perspective, the compassion, the understanding she's going to bring to people who will be in front of her, her knowledge, her willingness to look further and to look at the law and make sure she's making the best decision for them, no matter how they're in front of her, makes me jealous because I wish I was going to be in front of her in my county. She is one of my best friends. After trial, she welcomed me into her entire family, and I'm so grateful for getting to know her. She will do a great job. From meeting her, getting to know her story, knowing where she came from, where she started, where she is now. She is an amazing woman. Absolutely amazing. And I love you. We are on your timeline about 10 minutes behind, I think, 7, 8 minutes, but that's okay. She has a desire to get everything done and do things her way, uniquely and respectfully. And I'm sure she'll make a great addition to this bar. And I will give you back my last few minutes so I don't make you cry too badly.
Okay, and then I welcome Judge Robertson. She met Judge Jarmon as a law student, and then together they worked at the Seattle City Attorney's Office, where Judge Jarmon went through boot camp and survived. And I'm gonna skip a little bit to shorten that one. Forgive me, y'all. All right. She was mentored by Judge Robertson, and it's my honor to welcome you to share your comments.
was mentored by me. That's probably the reason that she's always 7 to 8 minutes late, because so am I. When I started as a judge 13 years ago, I was much younger. That's been causing me grief lately. But when I'd go to judicial conference, the sea of people I would see was much more monochromatic than it is today. And that is a good thing. As Dua told you, I met Andrea when she was a Rule 9 intern prosecutor at the Seattle City Attorney's Office. I was in the domestic violence. There's a timer here. I don't know whose it is.
It's not a timer.
Oh, okay. It's recording me. Just making sure. I was in the domestic violence unit, and sometimes I'd be asked to mentor young interns, and I was asked to mentor Andrea. And my reaction was, as it is every time I was asked, fine. Let's go. We don't have time for this. Come on, follow me. And she did. And she kept up in 4-inch heels. Andrea was bright. She was compassionate. She was amazing. I knew right away she was going to be a star. We had a case together. It was a domestic violence case. It was very serious, involving a strangulation in which the woman actually lost consciousness, urinated on herself, and he held a gun to her head. Of course, this being King County, it was tried in Seattle Municipal Court. It was so serious that I had the medical examiner testify as an expert witness in this case, and Judge Jarmon was my co-chair. The victim and the defendant were both Muslim. I had, being from the mean streets of Bothell, zero idea about that culture. And she taught me how to interact with the victim, with the witness, with the folks I needed to interact with to do the best job I could. Without her, I would have done a good job, but with her and with her experience and with her knowledge that she brought to the court, I did a really good job. Her critical experience was so important. When we were sitting at counsel table and it was time to cross-examine the defendant, I, being very lazy, and said to her, "Do you want to do this?" What she should have said is, "Get bent, crazy lady. I'm not prepared for this." But she didn't. She stood up and she cross-examined that person. And she did an excellent job. And we won our case. She went on to become an attorney with so many disciplines, with the Attorney General's office, in family court, with dependencies. She has such a breadth of knowledge about the law and such a breadth of experience, just from her own personal experience and what she's seen and heard. This is the kind of perspective that we need to have on our bench so that they can give us that information that we need to just simply do a better job. When people ask me, is she going to be a good judge? I'm like, she has 7 children. She has a Facebook called the Z Tribe Chronicles with her children. And you can see that she's calm, compassionate, she's fair, she's firm. She's all of the qualities that you need in a judge. When she came to the bench, she started asking us questions, and I'm like, I don't know. I can't even work my phone yet. Judge Shotwell calls her an egghead already because she's so smart and she knows exactly the right questions to ask. More than anything, I would like, and I know Judge Wiggs is going to talk about Judge Jarmon as a person, but I want my bench to know Judge Jarmon because she's an amazing, amazing person. She's funny, she's smart, she's goofy, she's adorable. You may not have seen it yet, but she's got really cute little dimples. She's an amazing cook. I would encourage you to come down to the RJC, make her open that door that she keeps closed, and engage with her because there's so much to learn from Judge Jarmon. And I'm so happy that you're on the bench with me. I could not be prouder of you. I've been trying to recruit her to the bench for years, and now I get to serve with her. So welcome and thank you.
For people who know me, I see my bailiff looking at me in the back saying, don't cry, don't cry. I will try not to, but Judge Jarmon knows me. I have been known to get emotional. It is very much a privilege to speak to you today about Judge Jarmon, and I can tell you that I'm here in my capacity as a judicial officer, but I'm truly, truly here in my capacity as her friend and her sister. Andrea, Judge Jarmon, I'm sorry, didn't mean to, is the dearest friend I have in this world. She's the dearest friend I have in this world. I thought about what I wanted to share and what memories I wanted to share about her, and I really come back to the first day that we met. We were, it was about 25 years ago, and we were undergraduates at the University of Washington. Both of us were parents. I did not know her. It was the fall of sophomore year, and we had a class in one of those larger halls. For folks who are familiar with the University of Washington, it was like a cane hall type of lecture hall. And it was pretty packed, and so I was walking up and down the aisles to try to find a place to sit. And I had walked down, I walked in the front, and I was walking back up the other side. And I heard this very cute little one-year-old female voice in the classroom. And I turned over to the side, and I saw this really cute one-year-old girl sitting, and she was sitting next to her mother, who was kind of shushing her and telling her about the protocol and how class was going to go. And I remember thinking, what one-year-old is going to be able to sit in a college class for an hour without disrupting the class? But she did. She did. There's the one-year-old standing next to her. She did remarkably well. And we did class that day, and I didn't think anything of it. I just thought, wow, that's incredible. Who could wrangle a one-year-old like that? And then, as luck would have it, that weekend, I was living in student family housing. And that weekend, student family housing, for those who know Seattle, is right. I was living in the student family housing that abutted the University Village. And so it was Saturday, and I was walking down through the complex to go to the University Village. And I heard that little cute little one-year-old voice running on the grass. And I looked over, and there she was with Zipporah on the grass. And we immediately saw each other and recognized each other. And she said, "Are you in that class with me?" And I said, "I am in that class with you. Are you, I thought that was you." And from that moment, we have been tied at the hips ever since. We've been very, very bonded and have had shared experiences. And in many ways, our career paths have paralleled each other. We both graduated from the University of Washington undergrad. Andrea got her degrees in women's studies and English. And then she went on and pursued her law degree at the University of Washington Law. I, of course, followed. I've been following her ever since. I followed the next year and started at the University of Washington Law School myself. We went to law school and had children. And when we got out of law school, we both entered into the public sector. Andrea's always been very committed to public sector work. And while I went in to the public sector field as a public defender, Andrea went in as a prosecutor, and much of her career was devoted to her work as a prosecutor. You heard that she was a prosecutor with the city attorney's office, where she was very instrumental in prosecuting repeat domestic violence offenders. Andrea, and she might share this with you when she speaks with you later, but she has a personal connection to domestic violence work that really informed her practice and her cultural competence in that area, as you just heard about. Andrea also worked as a prosecutor in the AG's office as an assistant attorney general, vindicating really the rights of folks who were victims or survivors, I should say, of sexual abuse, prosecuting folks who sexually violent predator work. She did that for many years. And also vindicating the rights of folks who are the victims in a civil context. She worked in their Medicaid fraud unit. Andrea, most recently, prior to joining the bench and a few years prior, started a private practice where she represented parents and children who are experiencing our court system in our dependency system. And one of the things that I have a great deal of respect for Andrea about is that for her, it's not one side or the other. For her, she really understands that so many people who come into these doors are victimized by the system, whether you're a victim or whether you are a respondent or a defendant in various actions. There's so much work to be done to make sure that people feel heard, that people feel valued, and she's committed to that. She's not only been committed to that on a practice level, but if you know Andrea and you know her body of work, you know that she has involved herself in organizations and associations so that these issues can be addressed on a structural level. Andrea has served as a board of governor on our Washington State Bar Association, working on some of these issues on a structural level. Most recently, she served as the chair of the advisory committee for the Office of Public Defense, working on some of those issues, making sure that people have the kind of representation that the system requires and that they deserve. So what really impresses me about her is, as I said, both individually in terms of her direct representation of victims and folks who are victimized by this system, and structurally in terms of her participation in organizations and associations to make sure that these issues are addressed on a structural level. She has a demonstrated commitment. She has a demonstrated commitment to the vulnerable and the voiceless that is really unparalleled in terms of folks who are in, many of us who are in the judiciary. Andrea does all of this, as you heard, while she has been the mother to 7 incredible human beings who are my nieces and my nephews who are sitting right here on the front row. All of this she has done while being a mother to them, and those of you who are parents know that that's the foundational work. That's the work starts at home, okay, and then it expands outward. So she's been a mother to these 7 beautiful, incredible young people while pursuing this work for the community. You know, it has been said, and I know you all have heard, that the strongest steel is forged by the hottest fires. The strongest steel is forged by the hottest fires. And you're looking at strong steel right here. You're looking at strong steel right here. You're gonna hear from Andrea, and you're gonna hear about some of the things that she has been through, some of the personal trials and tribulations that she has been through. And through it all, she has continued to be committed to the voiceless and the vulnerable in our community. That's foundational for her. She is someone who I am very, very honored to call a friend. I'm very honored to call her my sister. I'm very excited and honored to call her a colleague. And I know without any hesitation that the people of King County are better for someone such as Andrea sitting on the King County District Court bench. It's my honor to celebrate with her tonight. I love you.
Thank you very much, Judge Wicks. We are now at that very, very special moment where we will get to witness the momentous occasion of swearing in Judge Andrea Jarmon by the Honorable Judge Lori K. Smith. Can I ask you both to come forward?
Raise your right hand. I state your name.
I, Andrea Samanica Jarmon,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear and affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Washington,
and the Constitution of the State of Washington,
and that I will faithfully
and that I will faithfully
and impartially discharge the duties
of
the office of Judge
of
the King County District Court
of the King County District Court
of the State of Washington
to
the best of my ability. Congratulations.
that it's a legit ceremony, Judge Jarman, if you remain standing, and we're going to have the Z Tribe, and it is my distinct pleasure we introduced one set of distinguished guests, and this is the other set. So I'm going to please welcome Zipporah, Zaina, Zaire, Zriel, Zen, Zahara, and Zain.
I think everyone can sit down.
Thank you. I'm just having a moment. I can't, this is so, yeah, all right. I'm so proud of you, Mom. And you've worked so hard to get here. And it's been wild being with you, like every step of the way of this journey. But for you and what I hope you bring to the branch, it's been said a lot, but perspective. You have such a wonderful and unique perspective by nature of just the experiences that you've had. And King County is very blessed that you're going to be bringing your perspective, so that's what I... Empathy? Oh, so... Empathy? Empathy, yeah.
Well, Mom, I'm very proud of you for being distinguished. And, you know, I've seen you struggle, and I'm real proud of you making it this far. And my first interception gonna be for you. Just to let you know. And the first pick six, just to let you know. And the first fourth fumble. But what I really hope you bring to this is that you have the ability and the ambition and the consistency to stay open-minded, and you be reflective on what you do. You don't think too hard on the compound on what you do, but I know you can make the right decision.
Okay, who are these children?
Patient. Okay. I'm proud to call you Mom. I love you so much. Passionate.
Okay.
Fair.
What is it, honey?
Fair.
Fair? Okay, I can do that.
Yourself.
And now in all of this crinkle stage, but with all your blessings.
I got it to the top button at least. There you go.
These babies right here. I can't believe some of them spoke. All right, thank you.
All right, thank you, Z-Tribe. Bella and Manasa.
Thank you, everyone. First, I want to thank everyone for having me here today. I want to give a special thanks to Judge Andrea for choosing me to recite this surah. And, surah in Arabic means a chapter of the Quran, and I've studied the Quran for a couple of years, and I was so happy to be chosen for this basically task today to recite this surah. It's the surah number 93 of the Quran that I will recite. And before I will recite the first chapter of the Quran, so it's just two short but very strong and rich in value and meanings of the Quran. So I'll just go ahead and recite them, then I will give the translation of those surahs as well. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والضحى والليل إذا سجى ما ودعك ربك وما قلى وللآخرة خير لك من الأولى ولسوف يعطيك ربك فترضى ألم يجدك يتيما فآوى ووجدك ضالا فهدى ووجدك عائلا فأغنى فأما اليتيم فلا تقهر وأما السائل فلا تنهر وأما بنعمة ربك فحدث. And the second surah has very beautiful meanings, and Judge Andrea wanted me to give the interpretation of the surah because it relates to her life and her journey and why she chose to be the person she is today. And the surah begins with, in the name of Allah, the most gracious and the most merciful. By the glorious morning light, and by the night when it's still, the guardian Lord has never ever left you alone, nor has he ever detested you. And know and bear in mind that the hereafter will always be better for you than this worldly life. And your Lord will always be giving you until you satisfy, until you are satisfied in this world and the hereafter. Didn't he find you an orphan and he gave you refuge? And he found you lost in this life and he gave you guidance. And he found you poor and needy and he made you self-sufficient. Hence, the orphan, for the orphan, do not oppress. And for the needy, do not repel. And for the bounties and the pleasures and the provision of your Lord, always be proud of and report. Thank you so much.
I'm so sorry, I had held it together. Thank you so much, everyone, for being present. I'm just so overjoyed. Oh my goodness, hi. Oh my goodness. I know that we are short on time, and so I'm gonna go through this, but I'm gonna be very intentional because I would not be standing before you if it weren't for certain people that I met in my life, and you only get so many occasions to tell those people thank you. And I missed out on the opportunity to thank my mommy mentor before she passed away. And today is the day that she passed away in 2005. And so I said, well, if I have to be sworn in, well, I start my job in January, right? So I have to be sworn in to start. But if I can pick a day for my ceremony, I might as well be intentional about it and make it a day about thanking the people who allowed me to be here before you. So that was the intent with this program, and to also incorporate the beautiful diversity of the communities that I come from and who've supported me. So thank you so much for everyone for being brave to participate in this ceremony. I know many of you have participated in these before, and this is probably not something, some of this you haven't seen before. So I appreciate you having the courage to be with me in this moment. Justice Whitener, oh my goodness, I almost broke down when I saw her on the screen because she's on medical leave. Judge Smith, thank you so much for stepping in. Let me get started. My wonderful colleagues on the bench, you've been really, really great. Thank you so much for welcoming me. I have to give a special shout out to the trenches though. These clerks. And the court managers and court coordinators. I just like to briefly call it the court magic. Okay, thank you so much for being here and just what you do on a daily basis. I've titled my remarks, as you can see, because of you, I have the privilege to serve. And so I just want to share with you some of the people that got me to this point. And I tried to put on these little bitty things because I figured that's as much as I can say without becoming a real fool in front of people. All right, are we ready to go? Okay. And I feel like if I read it, I can hold it together better. We'll see if that works. Okay, probably won't, but Shannon Anderson. As some of you have heard or has been alluded to, and I'll just say it directly, I was a child who witnessed and suffered from abuse. That suffering manifested in severe behavioral problems. Children who are often abused, we get mislabeled. Oh, we have behavioral problems. No, actually, there's probably something else that's going on with us. Ms. Anderson helped me understand that school could be my safe place, that I was not a bad kid. She told me that I just needed a way to release the hurt that was inside me. She called it my gremlins. And she said, you just need to find a way to express what you're feeling inside. Next slide, please. She told me to write. And I was like, to who and why? And she said, well, just write, just get it out. I said, well, who am I gonna write to? It's not like I have friends or family, that's like I'm having these issues. And she said, write to me and I'll write back to you. So these are the letters, some of the letters from Miss Shannon, middle school, DuPont, 1989-90. Next, please. Oh, you can see on the end here, it says like, an improvement in her attitude could work wonders. Well, I was an angry, hurt child, you know. I was, going through some stuff at home. And Miss Heaton was a teacher at Satellite Alternative School in Seattle. And most teachers couldn't get past the terrible attitude that I had. But Miss Heaton was the person who told me that I didn't have to do it alone. And she told me to read. She said, your story, there are other people who have your story and they've gotten through this. And so Miss Anderson told me to write. Miss Heaton told me to read. Thank you, Miss Heaton, for the gift of reading. Next, please. Oh, and she wrote to me. There's a letter that she wrote telling me where she introduced the first book that she was giving me to read. Next. Cheryl Blankenship. Now, you're wondering why there's a bus right there, right? For a person. Cheryl Blankenship. The only image I have to represent the way that I met Miss Blankenship is out of the Metro bus. It was bus number 174, one of the longest bus rides you could take if you were looking for some warmth and safety during the night. It ran from downtown Seattle to Federal Way. A few nights before I met her on this bus, I had escaped through a window after my mother's drunken partner had come into the room with a loaded gun, turned off the lights, and closed the door. So that night, I had grabbed whatever clothes I could and climbed out the window. Eventually, I ended up on the 174. Miss Blankenship was a complete and total stranger to me. And in fact, I was rude to her because I had my own issues. I didn't want to, engage with anyone. I had all of my stuff in a bag, and the bus was crowded, and I was not letting her sit down. Eventually, I apologized, and I moved my bag out the way, and I let her sit down, and I said, I'm so sorry. It's just that I don't have any place to go. I don't know, 14, 15. Miss Blankenship looked at me and looked at my bags, and then she looked back, and she said, you can come home with me. I went home with Cheryl Blankenship that night. I stayed with her and her husband in a small trailer until her husband became sick. And then I had to find a different place to go. And she was very sad. She didn't want to see me go, but she couldn't take care of me anymore. And I will never forget that she told me to keep knocking on doors and that someone else would open another door. So because of Miss Blankenship, I kept knocking. Thank you, Cheryl Blankenship. All right, La Batia United Indians Youth Home. Is Jenna here by any chance? Oh, you made it. One of the doors I eventually knocked on was La Batia. It's a transitional living home for homeless youth. It was a shelter. Friends came and went. The staff at La Batia nurtured our hearts and loved us and made us feel proud of who we were, of our culture. La Batia took us all in, okay? Black, brown, white, immigrant, queer, abandoned, lost, or just trying to find our way. La Batia set our doors open. Each morning, we would make it down to the basement. We'd have to get in that talking circle, right? Right, the circle with our talking stick and share and express ourselves. We were told that we still had a voice, no matter that we didn't have a permanent home at that time. So Jenna Hart, I'm so glad that you're here. Who else is here from La Batia? Hello, I'm so glad you're here. Thank you so much for being a door that I could knock on and being a door that you allowed to be open for me. Next. Middle college. Now I'm gonna come back to here. This is my mommy mentor. You just can't say middle college without saying Miss Orelli. So I'm gonna come back to this. Middle college was an alternative high school on the campus of Seattle Central Community College. It was for at-risk youth, those who were just not served well by a traditional high school model. Middle college turned the phrase at risk on its head, questioning at risk of what? Are these kids at risk of tapping into their power and their potential and their promise? Do I have middle college? Anyone from middle college here? That's right. Again, we were kids of all backgrounds, street youth, minorities, immigrants, ESL students. Some of us struggled with acceptance of all forms. And teachers like our teachers like Mary Ellen Cordella and others, they gave us a book to read, and they said, you have the power to change your life. And that's one of the lasting messages that these teachers from middle college left with me. So all of these teachers, I can't name them all for time, but you see their images. I thank them. Next. Okay. I met Leo when I was attending middle college. I was living at a transitional living home in Bothell at this time. Shout out to Friends of Youth, Transitional Living Home. I didn't have a car. I was pregnant at the time. Leo worked the graveyard shift. And because I would miss the bus to go home that night, I would sleep. So that's a picture in one of the newspaper articles. I'm sleeping on the lounge in the break room at the place where I work. But most of the time, I had this ugly orange suitcase. I don't know where I got this thing from, but I carried it everywhere. Homeless kids, once we attach to something, we attach to something, okay? I'm just saying. So I carried this thing everywhere, and I would just make a pallet next to her and talk to her all night at the answering service. And she was one of my saving graces.
You would stuff sandwiches in there. Stuff sandwiches, clothes, books.
Oh, Miss Leo! See, well, you never knew where enough meal, right? So you have to prepare. So, all right. Next, thank you. Professor Jocelyn Moody, who I hope is watching on Zoom. I met her at the University of Washington. She was one of my English professors. When I attended, I was attending with that 1-year-old because I couldn't afford daycare, and I was still in a homeless shelter. Unlike Miss Lakeside.
Oh my
I just had to take a dig there, I'm sorry. So I had to bring support with me, and the UW, as much as I love the school, is a very, interesting place to be. And Professor Moody wouldn't allow me to see myself as anything other than an intellectual scholar. She pushed and challenged me to be a better writer, a more critical thinker, and a better student. And she also helped me to find the courage to write my own story. She always told me to think it possible. So thank you, Professor Moody. Now, Miss Sorelli, there's not much that I can say about her without breaking down, because this is the day that she passed. But sometimes you need that one person. You may not have a team of people championing you, but you need that one solid person who can not just look at you, but see through you. And that's what Miss Sorelli was for me. I'm sorry. And she was crazy. This book, every morning when I would come into her office, she would give me a word and tell me that at the end of the day, I needed to return and say the word, spell it, and say it in a sentence. And she would give me the most bizarre words. I'm like, look, I'm a homeless kid. Why do I need to know this word? And thank you, sweetheart. But she always had a purpose. I never understood her madness. But she knew things that I could accomplish before I could even articulate them for myself. By the time I got to Miss Sorelli, I had gone through 11 or 12, 13, I don't know, I stopped counting different schools. She pieced together my transcripts. She told me to do one quarter at Middle College, and then she said, I'm going to then send you to Seattle Central to be in the Running Start program. I didn't even know what Running Start was. I'm like, I'm already running around. But she sent me there, and she helped me to be able to construct my own dreams, irrespective of the obstacles that just seemed insurmountable before me. That's what Miss Sorelli was. I don't recall completing a single college application. Miss Sorelli did it. I didn't know how to do it. I didn't know how to fill out a financial aid application. I've never seen a college application before. She did it. And she was so mad when I messed up my, this is what we do, homeless children, we compound our problems, so I got pregnant. And she was so upset because she had wanted me to go to Spelman. And I messed that up, being pregnant. And she said, fine, when is that baby due? And I remember telling her it was due early, like September. And she said, well, you better hope that baby comes early because the UW starts September 28th or something. And I say this all the time. I have 7 children. Zipporah is the only child that came early. I think she was scared of Miss Sorelli. We got to get out and start school. Anyway, I just wanted to take this moment to honor the people who allowed me to be here. We are arrogant and lack humility and vulnerability if we don't take the opportunity to stand before a crowd of people and say, I would not be here if it were not for someone who touched me, who moved me, who took my hand, who guided me, who believed in me. And so all of you, you're now part of that, and I really thank you. And I'm so just overjoyed. And my values, I won't talk about them. My kids already talked about my values as a judge, right? They spelled it out pretty clearly. I can't believe my My 5-year-old said to be myself.
Yeah.
That's what I will be. I will be that. Because I think myself is honest and hardworking, but beyond being prepared and the legal stuff, I want to make sure that I use this opportunity like the way that I used it this afternoon when someone came before the mitigation calendar for an infraction and she broke down telling me the story of how she couldn't pay for insurance on her car because she was living in a shelter. And I had the opportunity just today to say, I've been where you are, ma'am. I know what that's like, and you will get past it. And I told her, if you need to, you come back and you see me. So, thank you so much. That's the type of judge that I want to be. And thank you to all these people.
Are you?